Just about ready for this Week 10 battle in the AFC South between the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's Doug Marrone, head coach of Jacksonville. Had a chance to watch some football with his father-in-law, the great Boots Donnelly, who of course is in the College Football Hall of Fame, former longtime head coach at Middle Tennessee. Trying to figure things out with this Jacksonville team that has suddenly lost 4 straight games. Meantime, his counterpart on the other side of the field, Frank Reich, who said he's actually considering inviting Adam and I to his daughter's wedding. We've seen him so many times so far this season, but things are good for Reich and company. They've won 2 straight games and suddenly starting to push themselves back into the conversation, Adam, in the division. So just about ready, Jacksonville and Indy. It's been a struggle for Jacksonville's offense. The return of Leonard Fournette, the big story. Adam, what are we keeping tabs on early?
Well, I think it's exactly that. Does Leonard Fournette and him being back in this lineup, does it jumpstart this offense? Does it give them that identity? And does it take the pressure off of Bortles in that passing game? I think that's what everybody here is looking for. And for Jacksonville, their players and their fans, that's exactly what they're hoping for as well.
Jacksonville winning the toss. They elect to defer, and so it will be Andrew Luck and the Colts with the football to begin the day. We saw what Indy has done offensively over their last 2 games, nearly 40 points per game, as they have gotten some elite offensive line play. The return of Marlon Mack has given them the threat of a ground game for the first time in a very, very long time here in Indy, as we're underway here in Indianapolis in week number 10. Zach Pascal off the kick from Josh Lambo, and here comes Mr. Luck, who has already thrust himself into the conversation for comeback player of the year. Of course, missed all of last season. He has been off the charts the last few weeks.
And I have to imagine that at this point in the season, coming off a bye, this is the best that Andrew Luck has ever felt. He has not been sacked in his last 3 games. In his last 2 wins before the bye, he has only thrown 54 passes combined in both of those games, both wins. So I'm sure he's feeling really good about the second half of the season.
Nyheim Hines is the running back. Lines up top of your picture as that pass attempt he intended for T.Y. Hilton, and it falls incomplete. Speaking of Hilton and these wide receivers, they get Ryan Grant back today. Grant missing the last 2 games. Actually, the first 2 games he's missed in his career. That's a huge addition, the free agent acquisition from Washington in the offseason. 2nd and 10. Luck from the gun again, throwing left side of the field, this time to the running back, the rookie Hines, as he is buried right after the catch by the strong safety Barry Church. It's a pickup of 4.
You see the Colts immediately doing everything from the line. Not really a fast tempo, but a no huddle. Now they go to a huddle here just as I start to explain what was happening, getting ready for this 3rd down. But they have been one of the best 3rd down offenses in the league, and everything starts on their crossing game. They love to get the crossers open over the middle, and that really gets the 3rd down package going for the Colts.
170.
Luck, quick delivery. Here's Hilton finding some daylight, and he does have enough for an Indianapolis 1st down. Hilton finding that little seam, a pickup of 7.
Nothing fancy about this. They feel like they have the numbers outside. Jack Doyle gets the key block, and Hilton just waits patiently at the line of scrimmage, and you see that little alley for him to get up and pick up the first down of the game.
We mentioned the numbers for Indianapolis, the 2 teams that they've beat during this little mini winning streak. Buffalo, of course, one of the top defenses in the league, and then Oakland a couple of weeks ago. We know how badly the Raiders have struggled. This a big test for them, even against the Jacksonville defense that has not been quite what they were last year. That's Dontrell Inman, in-season signing, former member of the Chargers, a pickup of a half dozen, and that probably has been the biggest surprise. We know about their struggles offensively, but this defense just hasn't been the same unit than it was last year.
Well, last year they were elite. They're still ranked number 2 in total defense. They haven't had a great month. They've struggled stopping the run. The big difference in this year compared to last year was just the big plays. They scored 7 touchdowns on defense and had 55 sacks. Those 2 categories, they start to up those, and they'll get back to playing good ball again.
Keep it on the ground. Here's Mack. Broke the initial tackle. Finally Telvin Smith was able to get it from the back. It's a pickup of 7, but the initial broken tackle able to spring himself free.
Well, how about the offensive rookie of the month guard, Quentin Nelson, with his pancake block? Right around the corner, and oh my goodness, that opens it up for Marlon Mack. And Quentin Nelson has been playing some good ball here. He's gotten better and better in each and every game, and I think that's why they made him the offensive rookie of the month, the first guard ever.
That's exactly right. No guard had ever won that award. 6th overall pick was Nelson out of Notre Dame, as this time Mack is buried. Avery Jones, the 6th-year stud out of Georgia, getting that interior push. And that's been one of the areas, Adam, where they've struggled, the interior defensive front. This has not been very good against the run.
Absolutely, inside. Marcel Darius, number 99 on the other side, has had a pretty good year in run support, but they haven't been able to get production at the other tackle. Malik Jackson has not played the run well, and Avery Jones is getting a lot more reps on 1st and 2nd down, but that tackle position opposite Darius is going to be the key here for the Jaguars trying to stop the run.
On 2nd and 12, Luck putting some air under it, has his man, it's Ebron, wide open, stumbles, was he in? Touchdown Indianapolis. "53 yards on the catch and run from Luck." Well, this was close. They are taking a look at this in New York without Riveron. Looks like he's in there.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Wow, what a play. Yep, didn't go out of bounds. He was able to touch the football to the pylon. That's going to be a score. This just comes down to an assignment bust. Jaguars in either man coverage or 3-deep coverage, and they completely drop Ebron going down the field.
Big Eric Ebron, the big tight end, as he continues what has been a career season for him. His 8th touchdown catch, already a career high. Entered the day tied for the 2nd most scores in the league. Vinatieri's point after good, as Ebron walks a tightrope on the sideline. Well, what a start for Andrew Luck and Indianapolis. Luck 4 of 5, leads them 75 yards down the field. Eric Ebron with the long 53-yard catch and run. 24th touchdown pass of the season for Luck. That is second only to Kansas City stud Pat Mahomes. DJ Chark Jr. taking a knee in the end zone as we go back to the touchdown.
So this appears to be man coverage, and Telvin Smith and Barry Church are both responsible for the running back and the tight end. But as Ebron goes up the field, both of them let him go. Barry Church goes to the flat. Doesn't look like Telvin Smith knew exactly what the coverage is. A miscommunication, and Ebron is down the field for his 8th touchdown of the game, or of the season, excuse me.
So Luck and company throwing down the gauntlet. And now Blake Bortles gets his first chance as they begin from their own 25. There is Leonard Fournette, who is a sight for sore eyes for that man, Blake Bortles, who has had so much arch on his shoulders, and he has struggled, no doubt about it, during this 4-game slide.
Well, if there's a silver lining, it's because he's playing the Colts. In his last 6 starts, he's had 4 wins, 10 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. So this is a game, or excuse me, a team that he's had a lot of success against, and looking to get a good start here today again.
380! 380! 380!
On 2nd and 6, Bortles rolling out off the play-action pass. Here's the former Colt, Dante Moncrief, facing his former team for the first time. We'll see if this one's coming back, as a penalty marker is thrown right behind the line of scrimmage. Jerome Boger is our referee today.
Holding. Defense, number 96. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's Danico Autry, one of Frank Reich's defensive tackles, and that results in a Jacksonville first down.
Yeah, Danico Autry was coming around the edge, and they were trying to sneak the tight end Blake Bell out into the flat. Autry grabbed him with his left arm, and that's why they called the hold.
So Leonard Fournette returns, but the biggest issue for them, in addition to his absence, has been their offensive line. It has been a major disappointment, especially when you consider the amount of money that they paid out in some of their signings in the offseason. Fournette unable to break the initial tackle. Their left guard, Andrew Norwell, signed that massive free agent contract. Of course, coming over from Carolina, they gave Brandon Linder, their center, a huge free agent deal to extend him at the center position. But the front has been a disappointment.
Yeah, the left tackle position, which you talked about, has been an issue. And also, I think it's because of the tight ends. You know, last year, Mercedes Lewis was one of the top run-blocking tight ends in the NFL. And I think the injuries to Austin Seferian-Jenkins and Niles Paul has really hurt the edge of that run-blocking scheme.
Fournette going nowhere. He is buried. Anthony Walker making first contact. It's a loss of a yard and a big third down coming up early here for Jacksonville.
Well, Anthony Walker had a tough game a few weeks ago against the Oakland Raiders, but this is exactly how you play it. Look at the angle, how tight he scrapes, makes contact on a big back in the backfield, and gets a beautiful run stuff, forcing the 3rd and 9. The Jaguars in third down situations have used the crossing routes to their advantage. They usually don't throw past the sticks. They go for their yards after the catch. So the Colts, if they do get that route, they're going to have to come up and tackle the ball carrier. Has
to hurry. Bortles barely gets the snap in time. And once again, that Indy defensive front able to hold as T.J. Yeldon is brought down immediately at the line of scrimmage. Kenny Moore leading the charge for the Colts as Jacksonville will punt.
Colts fired up to play this game. Great challenge for them. And when you look at their run defense throughout the first half of the season, it's kind of been feast or famine. They do a great job of getting run stuffs in the backfield, but they also give up the big plays. So they're going to have to be sure tacklers against Fournette.
It's an Indy defense a little bit shorthanded in the secondary. No Nate Hairston at corner. He's out with an ankle injury, and Mike Mitchell is out today with a calf. He's been a huge acquisition. 45 yards on the punt. Early lead for Indianapolis.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Walmart. Light up Christmas at Walmart. Corona Extra. Find your beach. And by Hyundai, official sponsor of the NFL.
Oh, happy Veterans Day from Indianapolis. A hearty thank you to all our servicemen and women around the country and around the world. First, 10 Indianapolis, their second offensive possession. Luck hitting his tight end. It's Jack Doyle. Out across the 40-yard line. Second game for Doyle since the return. Missed 5 games with a hip injury. It's a pickup of 20 and another first down.
Well, Jaguars starting to bust some coverages. This is a simple fullback, which is Jack Doyle, to the flat. And you see all the Jacksonville defenders come up and play the run. Tashawn Gibson looks like he's responsible for Doyle coming out of the backfield, and another wide open tight end for Andrew Luck.
5 completions in a row for Luck. They've got it 1st and 10 from the 40. That is Mack, a minimal gain of a yard. As we go to New York at our first update with James Brown.
Opening drive success.
Yeah, Michael Thomas picks up where he left off. Drew Brees finds him from 7 yards out. Michael Thomas 4 catches in that first drive. They lead 7-0 in Cincinnati.
Take it back to Spiro Dedes and Adam Archuleta.
All right, JB, early going. You see what New Orleans has done. They've won their last 5 games against AFC opponents. Trying to keep that going today in Cincinnati. 7-0 here in Indy. Colts with the early lead. 53-yard touchdown catch from Eric Ebron. And speaking of Ebron and Doyle, who just had the catch a couple of minutes ago, we know they're a little bit short today without Ryan Hewitt and Eric Swope, but that tight end position suddenly has been a huge source of production for the Colts.
Yeah, it's been pretty unbelievable. Coming into this game, it was 12 touchdowns. Eric Ebron made it 13 touchdowns for their tight ends in the first series of the game, but they've kind of morphed and kind of evolved into a multiple tight end team. You see a lot of 2 tight ends and 3 tight end sets, and that's been extremely successful, especially in the last 2 games of the Colts season.
Yeah, Ebron has really kind of resurrected his career so far. Off to a career start with his 8th touchdown catch of the season earlier in the quarter. Right on cue, there's Ebron again. You see the football squirt out at the end of that play, but they are short, and Indy will punt.
Yeah, this time 3rd down, and they put Jalen Ramsey on Ebron. And Ebron, a great athlete who gets a lot of production on those shallow crossers, gets the completion, but because of the speed of Ramsey, he's not able to pick up the 1st down. So the Jaguars dropping 2 tight ends in coverage, but they're able to get off the field here in the 2nd drive of the game.
What a play by Ramsey, the first-team All-Pro, Pro Bowler last season, on the best at his position. Just showing that raw athletic ability as he tracked down Ebron. D.D. Westbrook watches this one take a bounce, but was it in the end zone? Brady Westbrook is going to play it, and he is buried. An incredible gamble by Westbrook, as it was Chris Milton who batted it back out of the end zone for Indianapolis.
Yeah, the fans think that it's going to be a safety, but because Milton touched the ball, the Jaguars have a free shot at that ball, and therefore no play. Not really much downside to D.D. Westbrook picking up this ball. Once Milton touches the ball, D.D. knows that he has a free play, and the Jaguars can always choose to get the ball back where it was first touched or the result of the play. So heads-up play by Westbrook trying to get one.
Danger zone here for Jacksonville as they have to start from inside their own 5-yard line. As Leonard Fournette, with his first game action since week 4, that hamstring injury that he sustained initially in week 1 at the Giants, tried to come back a couple of weeks later, week 4, re-aggravated the injury against the Jets. And his absence has really coincided with this 4-game losing streak, but you can't put it all on his shoulders with so much wrong at the moment for this offense. Fournette gets a blow here, and Carlos Hyde acquired that trade from Cleveland into the game. Here is Westbrook breaking the initial tackle. He is right at the 1st down marker, and Blake Bortles, in one of our first questions to him, said they have to get Westbrook more involved in this offense.
And they need big plays, and they need big production in the passing plays. Coming into this game, the Jaguar receivers responsible for 23 drops this year, and that certainly has hurt the production in the passing game. And we talked about who is the guy that has to be able to be that weapon. They pointed to Westbrook as especially a guy that they want to try and get vertical against a defense that has given up a lot of big plays in the passing game today.
Was enough for Jacksonville 1st down for a fresh set of downs. Here is Fournette, able to fight his way across the 15-yard line, tackled by Leonard. Back to JB and Coach.
Baker cooking early.
Yeah, 28 yards right here. He finds Rashard Higgins. Baker Mayfield already in this game, 7 of 7 for 98 yards. They lead Atlanta 7-0.
Back to Spiro and Adam.
All right, JB, all the turmoil in the aftermath of the firing, of course, of Hugh Jackson and Todd Haley. Can Cleveland get their season going behind their stud rookie quarterback? 2nd and 7. And already in this game, we have seen a commitment to running the football, something we did not see a couple of weeks. The last game in London against Philly, they had just 2 runs in their last 41 offensive plays called in that game.
And already in this game, Leonard Fournette with 5 carries, including in their last drive on 3rd and 10, they chose to hand the ball off. So here you go, the Jaguars here at 3rd and 3. The last time they ran the ball, this time they line up in an empty formation with T.J. Yeldon lined up out wide against the strong safety Gathers.
Interesting, Fournette coming off the field on a 3rd and 3. Bortles well protected, taking a shot up the seam. He's got Moncrief breaking a tackle. Moncrief, it's a foot race, and he will score. The former Indianapolis Colt coming back to Indy and busting him for an 80-yard touchdown.
Wow, what a play, and what a throw and catch from Bortles to Moncrief. This is press coverage with Moncrief down on the inside. He runs a corner route. Look at the throw by Bortles. That is perfect ball location. Moncrief working on Arthur Mollett, and Malik Hooker cannot get over there in time to make the tackle.
Longest completion of the season for Blake Bortles. And Dante Moncrief, what a moment for him. Entered the league as a third-round pick of the Colts in 2014. Had his best season here in 2015, nearly 800 yards receiving. Was actually off to a pretty sluggish start as a free agent acquisition so far for Jacksonville until that happened. As we get multiple flags thrown, here is the call from Boger.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 30. Jacksonville has elected to carry this 5-yard penalty over to the kickoff.
All right, that's George Odom on the penalty. Boy, things look bleak for Doug Marrone at the moment. They had to start at their own 3-yard line. 5 plays, 97 yards in less than 3 minutes as Bortles finding Moncrief for the 80-yard catch and run. Point after from Lambeau is good, and we are even at 7. Some fireworks in Indianapolis on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings. Try our game day menu. And by United States Air Force. Experience more at airforce.com.
Well, future generation of Indianapolis Colts fans. But at the moment, these fans are a little bit quieter than they were earlier. 80-yard touchdown catch from their old buddy Dante Moncrief, who returns to Indy, first time facing his former team. And we are tied at 7. Booming kick to the back of the end zone, as Indy will have it from their own 25-yard line. We'll get the flag here. Was thrown all the way back right around midfield. Boger had a long way to run to have a conversation with his colleagues.
Illegal motion. Kicking team, number 36, leaving early. The 5-yard penalty will be added on to the end of the play. First down.
All right, that's Ronnie Harrison. And the officials will mark off the yardage here. We'll see where they spot the football. And it will be right at the 30-yard line. So third offensive possession here for Indy. An offense that has been humming during this little mini 2-game winning streak, averaging nearly 40 points per game. Play action from Luck. Well protected, has his man wide open. Hilton. And they once again take advantage of a blown coverage. Jalen Ramsey flushed him out. A pickup of 35.
This is just an example of Hilton beating Ramsey across the field. This is man-to-man coverage. The play action makes it so that there is no underneath linebackers dropping in the window. And T.Y. Hilton is able to get a lot of separation against Jalen Ramsey across the field.
Third blown coverage by this Jacksonville secondary. And for all their struggles against the run, still the #1 passing defense in the NFL. Back to New York, another update. Here's JB and Coach.
Mariota continuing his hot play.
Yeah, his second touchdown pass of the day. This one from 23 yards out goes to Corey Davis, lays it right in the bucket right there, and you see Tennessee Titans up 14-3 over New England.
Spiro and Adam.
It's been a long time since Tennessee has beaten the Patriots. As pupil meets teacher, Mike Vrabel against Mr. Belichick. On 2nd and 10, Luck up the middle, finds his man. That's the tight end, Mo Alley Cox. He is pressed into a bigger role today with the absence of both Ryan Hewitt and Eric Swope out. 27-yard on the catch.
Boy, these multiple tight end sets are just killing Jacksonville. That time they line up Ali Cox, Eric Ebron over to the right side, and the Jaguars again in 3 deep coverage, but because Ebron was occupying the strong safety to the other side, there was nobody able to come over and cover Ali Cox.
Colts had 3 tight ends on that play. They go 2 tights here as Luck is dealing. You saw 8 straight completions. What a play by Calais Campbell as he just buries Nyheim Hines. Campbell nearly took the handoff.
Well, Calais Campbell, we talk about the front maybe not as playing as well as they did a season ago, but 93 to your left side. That's a tough matchup for Ali Cox. You saw him just go down the field and catch the big play, but now he's got to block one of the better run-playing defensive ends in the National Football League, and Campbell is just too much.
What did Campbell tell us yesterday? We have to stop the run first. When's the last time you heard that from someone facing the Colts? On 2nd and goal, Luck. Play action, goes underneath to the check down, Mack. Brought down short of the end zone by Miles Jack. Well done defensively by Jack, the 3rd-year kid out of UCLA. And it will be 3rd and goal here with 23 seconds to play in the quarter.
We saw T.Y. Hilton make the big play just a few plays ago on Jalen Ramsey in the middle of the field, but really where his impact has shown up this season has been more involved in the red zone. Anytime they get tight, T.Y. Hilton has been one of Luck's favorite targets when they get inside the 5-yard line if they choose to pass the ball.
See if they'll try to run a play here. Yes, they will. 1 second, little misdirection. It is Ebron, and he bounces it into the end zone. 2nd touchdown for Ebron. And Indianapolis back in front.
Boy, just great play calling right here. Ebron is matched up with Gibson man-to-man, and Ebron gets to the other side behind the line of scrimmage before Gibson can get there to cut him off. And that's what you get when you get a tight end that has that kind of open field speed. He just beats Gibson to the end zone.
Ebron doing it every which way. 2nd career rushing touchdown for Ebron. He's got both for the Colts today. They're back in front. Oh, back with you as we begin the 2nd quarter. 14-7. What a start for this Indianapolis offense. Eric Ebron, first game of his career with both a receiving and rushing touchdown. Andrew Luck 9 of 10 for 163 yards, including the touchdown pass. And something clearly is not right, Adam, with this Jags defense. This is a short kick, and it is fielded by Jacksonville. As DJ Chark able to cross the 20. In June, the Jaguars' Malik Jackson hosted a football camp for local kids from the First Coast military community at the Jaguars indoor facility. Jackson partnered with Survival Outreach Services and the Florida National Guard Child and Youth Program, which selected more than 100 military and Gold Star children to participate in the event. All kids received gifts and spent a couple of hours learning football techniques as they got to hang out with some of their heroes, and our salute to service continues as you see Jackson. Nice moment for him and this franchise in that Jacksonville community. So here's Bortles and company back onto the field. They begin from their own 23-yard line. Here's Fournette. Crosses the 25 and out to the 27-yard line as we welcome you back inside the booth. Spiro Dedes and Adam Archuleta. Happy Veterans Day. I want to give a shout out to my cousin Tom Pappas, former West Point grad, former captain in the U.S. Army, as we salute our servicemen and women.
Yeah, you know, it's quite a life that we get to live. We're sitting up here in the booth, and we have so many people that are out there sacrificing, putting their lives on the line. Of course, you know, I played with one of the great ones, Pat Tillman, who was a huge inspiration in my life, but hats off to everybody out there who is risking their lives so we can come out here and do this.
Pretty cool to see some of the remembrances around the country and around the league today as Fournette is able to pick up the first down as he is brought down at the 30-yard line. And this was Our good buddy Adam and the late, great Pat Tillman at Arizona State.
He certainly inspired a lot of people with what he did in his life, and certainly a big inspiration for me choosing to go and play at Arizona State and kind of follow in his footsteps. So I owe a lot to Pat Tillman, as do a lot of people out there.
On 1st and 10, here is Fournette going nowhere. Fournette only his 3rd appearance of the season, tackled there by Kenny Moore. It's a loss of a yard. Doug Marrone was asked this week, would there be a pitch count for Fournette? He said, listen, considering where we are, the desperation mode we're in, everyone is full bore, and we've seen a lot of Fournette and a real commitment so far to running the football here in the first half.
I think that's the main thing. The average per carry may not be there in the first half, but if they can keep this thing close, that's why I think this is an extremely critical drive, and keep using the running game. Hopefully it opens up as the game goes on.
Quick delivery. Here's Westbrook. A pickup of 7 yards. And a good start for Bortles in this offense. We've talked about all their struggles. The offensive line that just haven't been up to par. Imbalance in the pass and the run during this 4-game losing streak. It's a critical 3rd and 4 here.
Well, the last 3rd down was the big play to Dante Moncrief. The Colts played man coverage, and they do not blitz a lot on 3rd down, opting to play more coverage. But I think somebody up front, Jabal Sheard or Margus Hunt, have to get to Bortles.
Bortles pass incomplete. Intended receiver was Westbrook.
Well, it looked like DJ Chark, number 17, he was open. Now, this was zone coverage, and he's supposed to sit that thing down a little bit. You've got to get a better, more accurate pass from Bortles. There is no way for Chark to change his momentum to reach back and get that football.
Showed you Bortles' completion percentage during the losing streak, just 55%. Chester Rogers, not much room to maneuver as he is brought down right around the 13-yard line. 50 yards on the punt, 7-point game. Colts fans having a good old time as we play early stages 2nd quarter. 14-7 in this AFC South battle in week number 10. T.Y. Hilton, the man in motion. As that is a decent looking run by Mack. And Adam, you've been impressed by these Colts tight ends.
Oh, they've been devastating all season, and even more devastating today against the Jaguars. Earlier, first drive in the game, a busted coverage leads to Eric Ebron, 57 yards. The next series, Mo Alley Cox with a 27-yarder down the field, and then a little reverse by Ebron, beating the safety to the end zone. So the tight ends again, and the way they use these tight ends, continuing to hurt defenses in the NFL.
They are a little bit thinner at the position. We mentioned no Eric Swope and no Ryan Hewitt. They're both out due to injury, but
you mean they have more tight ends on the
Yes, they do. This is a deep position thanks to their general manager Chris Ballard, but Doyle, of course, was on the shelf for 5 weeks with that hip injury. Was a massive loss to a guy who had really developed into such a trustworthy target for Luck. For Luck's last couple of years, but Doyle is back, had the big touchdown against Oakland a couple of weeks ago, and suddenly an embarrassment of riches at the position. Can they keep the drive alive here on a 3rd and short? Little pitch play. First time we've seen Jordan Wilkins, the rookie, first down and more. Wilkins gashing the defense.
Boy, how about, again, Glowinski? We saw Quentin Nelson do it earlier, but the right guard, Mark Glowinski, number 64. Check out the block on Jalen Ramsey. You got Dontrell Inman getting another good block on the outside on number 25, but oh my goodness, Ryan Kelly down the field, getting his hands onto Sean Gibson, and Jordan Wilkins has nobody interfering with his run before he gets downfield. Unbelievable job up front by the Colts run blocking.
53 yards on the run by Wilkins. His previous long was 18. First down pass by Luck is complete. That's the tight end right on the sideline. Doyle at another Indianapolis first down. And a lot of shaking of the head for some of those Jacksonville defenders. They just can't figure it out.
Well, and you can't say enough. The topic du jour here for the Colts has been the emergence of the offensive line. We've done a lot of Colts games here in the past few seasons, and they've been a punchline. They've been among one of the worst units in the National Football League. The last 3 weeks they've been exceptional, and here they are again today, completely taking it to one of the top defenses in the NFL.
Luck has completed 10 straight passes. It's 1st and 10. Over the middle and right on cue, it's incomplete. You know, the question here always had been, boy, what would Andrew Luck look like when they had a consistent ground game and elite offensive line play? The line was okay his first couple of years, first 3 years when they made the postseason, but it's really taken them to a different level.
Well, you know, everything has changed. You know, Luck 1.0 was basically a down-the-field play-action passer. They didn't really have a short passing game, and they didn't really have an imaginative running game. But the way Frank Reich and his offensive staff have put their scheme together, they can attack defenses in a lot of different ways.
On 2nd down, Luck to the end zone, and it's incomplete. You know, we had a chance to talk about Luck, and he told us he was actually apprehensive about playing for a head coach who would also be the play caller. You know, he wondered what the dynamic would be. Would Reich be able to be in on all of the offensive meetings? Obviously, that has been a very seamless transition.
Yeah, he said he's almost like a position coach. That's how involved he is. And you can see every week they have such a good feel for how to attack defenses. They do such a good job of game planning, and it's had great results.
Quick snap. Look! Wide open is Ebron. Touchdown number 3. And his brilliant day continues. First career 3-touchdown game for Ebron.
Absolute confusion, and there's nobody there to even guard Eric Ebron. Telvin Smith is the only defender, and he has to take Hines coming out of the backfield. But the Jaguars defense don't even get lined up, and another easy one. Luck finds the mistake, and another touchdown.
Well, I hope you had Ebron on your fantasy team. Touchdown number 3, and his 10th of this season. And it's all Indy here on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the NFL. Dell and the XPS 13 with Dell Cinema. And by State Farm, here to help life go right.
Oh, the International Food Festival here in Indy, where people celebrate the sights, sounds, music, dances, food, and culture of the world at Indy's oldest and largest pan-ethnic event. I know they've got the Greeks well represented. I think I actually saw some baklava on that tray. Mouth is watering. DJ Chark Jr. breaking a couple of tackles. Nifty return up the sideline, something that the Jags desperately needed here. 47 yards on the return. Adam, take us back to the touchdown.
It's been the story of the game. The Jags not ready to play and completely confused. Telvin Smith is the only defender to cover 2 guys. Miles Jack blitzes up the middle, and you see everybody walking around with their hands up like, what is happening? You know, Barry Church, everybody completely confused right now, and Frank Reich, Andrew Luck completely embarrassing the Jaguars defense.
Now keep in mind, no A.J. Boye today, out in the 2nd straight game with that injury. Tyler Patman forced to make the start. And so right now, I'm just trying to figure some things out, as Jacksonville has given up touchdown drives now of 75, 70, and 86 yards. Here's Fournette as his busy day continues now inside Indianapolis territory, a pickup of a half dozen. And now the question is, in terms of the run pass, can they stay balanced as they fall behind by 2 scores?
That's exactly right. Now they're down by 2 scores, and that's kind of been the story. You know, 2 weeks ago when they played the Philadelphia Eagles, it was a tight ball game, and they completely abandoned the run. Right now, with the way the Colts offense is going, this is a critical drive here for Bortles and the Jaguars offense to try and get 6 points or 7 points on the board.
Here's Westbrook, another little misdirectional play. That's a first down, running more. The end around play, well called by Nathaniel Hackett, who is their offensive coordinator and play caller. Hackett, of course, taking some criticism for the imbalance in terms of the pass and run over this 4-game losing streak, but a lot of that has to do with the lack of confidence that they've had in their offensive line.
Oh, there's a lot of things that it has to do with, but here's what you're looking at. It's the second quarter with 8 minutes left. You're down by 2 scores, so still plenty of time, and there's no need to abandon the run game. Now, this is a critical drive. More importantly for Jacksonville is they have to get their defense right.
Couple of fakes. Little check down pass to Fournette. Another big play. Fournette barreling inside the 5-yard line. What a run. A pickup of 31 yards. Showing no ill effects from the hamstring on that catch and run.
Everybody out here leading the way for Leonard Fournette. Anthony Walker just takes a false step inside, but the fake to the jet reverse allows the offensive line for Jacksonville to go out there and lead the way. And that's exactly the kind of drive and the response that they need after that last score by the Indianapolis Colts.
31-yard hookup, by far longest catch on the season for Fournette. First and goal, second little push will get him down to the 2-yard line. Well, how huge would this be for the Jags to be able to get back in for a touchdown here after the big play by Ebron, as they will face a second and goal here. You see some of the numbers by Fournette. Just can't overstate what they were missing with Fournette on the shelf the last 4 games, as he is in the lineup for the first time since week 4. A hamstring injury that he sustained initially on opening day at the Meadowlands against the Giants. He has played a very good first half. Second and goal, Fournette again trying to leap above the pile, and he can't get there. Didn't appreciate the extra little shove by George Odom, the rookie, and it will be third and goal.
I appreciate the effort. I think he started his jump way too deep in the backfield. I know he's a talented guy, but he takes off from almost the 3 or the 4-yard line. And I think one thing you have to remember is that the Colts defense, there's a lot of big, tall men that play up there in front. I don't like that decision by Fournette to go over the top. Now, I expect the Jaguars again to keep this on the ground. They're certainly in 4-down territory down here.
Fournette into the end zone. Massive touchdown for Jacksonville. And they punch right back with a chance to cut it to 7. And that's the kind of response you wanted if you're Doug Marrone.
Just a really nice job on the right side of the offensive line. Extra offensive lineman in there. Number 69, that's Tyler Shatley, to get a little bit more beef. You see Norwell coming around, and Fournette is able to use his size and power to get in the end zone.
And the extra point is blocked. That's a live football. It's returned by Anthony Walker, and Walker is still on his feet. One man to beat. Walker. There is a late penalty flag thrown, 2 markers back. Well, if it stands, it'll be 2 points for Indianapolis, but multiple flags thrown right around the 20-yard line on the return.
Personal foul, a lot below the waist. You see, kicking team, number 36. This foul negates the score. The try is over.
That was Corey Moore, and that hurts for Indianapolis. Lambeau's point after blocked, and it's an 8-point lead for Indianapolis. Oh, it would have been an 83-yard return for 2 points on a blocked point after by Anthony Walker of Indianapolis is negated. Illegal block by Corey Moore. And so it remains an 8-point lead for Indianapolis. Josh Lambeau's booming kick into the end zone as they will have it from the 25.
Yeah, right up the middle, number 96, all 6'5" of Danico Autry steps between the center of the guard and gets his hands up there. And what a return by Anthony Walker. Corey Moore, you're going to watch him go down low, and that takes a potential 2 points off of the board. But what an effort, what a return by Walker. Some nice running back skills.
That was Avery Jones, the man who was blocked by Moore. And that's why you tell guys to get back and hustle. You know, if Avery Jones doesn't at least make an effort, that's a 2-point play for Indianapolis. So give Jones all kinds of credit for getting back. On 1st and 10, Colts right back to the running game. That is Marlon Mack, who has rushed for 100 yards in back-to-back games. First Colt to do that since Joseph Adai in 2007. Actually, the first 2 100-yard games of Mack's career.
That's pretty unbelievable when you kind of think of it. It's been that long since the Colts have had that kind of a running attack. Now, they've been taking advantage of Jacksonville in the passing game primarily by the tight ends. But imagine we'll see a little bit more Marlon Mack, but I'd keep testing that Jacksonville defense.
Dangerous looking pass by Luck. Jalen Ramsey was the man in the coverage. T.Y. Hilton and Dontrell Inman just kind of ran into each other. And it will be 3rd down coming up as Reich looks down at that play sheet.
Jacksonville confused. They might get him for 12 men on the field. Calais Campbell was late getting off. And Jacksonville continuing with the confusion and the chaos pre-snap and not getting ready to play.
Well, that's where Luck's mastery at the line of scrimmage comes in handy. Those long, hard snap counts. That time going to the quick snap. Able to catch Jacksonville napping.
Before the snap, we had timeout being called by the defense. So we had the first charge timeout to Jacksonville. During the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Defense, number 97, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Just a killer, Malik Jackson.
Oh, that does hurt. Personal foul, and when there should have been no play.
We'll break back in 30 seconds after this from State Farm. Well, that last sequence has to drive Doug Marrone and Todd Wash just crazy. They get the timeout to avoid the penalty, and then Malik Jackson is called for the unnecessary roughness. It was a 3rd and 4. So instead of getting off the field, potentially it's a fresh set of downs for the Colts. And we had a chance to visit with Wash yesterday, and he was candid. He said, look, Malik Jackson, some of these guys on the interior have to get themselves going. And Jackson, of course, coming over, signed that big free agent contract, undrafted free agent from Denver. Just has not been his usual self so far this season.
Yeah, part of it is that he's down to about 270 pounds, so he's not physically big enough to kind of take the pounding to take some of those double teams. And when offenses are seeing him in the lineup, they're taking advantage of it and running right at him.
Luck under center on 2nd and 6. And a good push, something we've been talking about. That is Campbell, the NFL's reigning defensive player of the year. And now a penalty flag.
Offense, number 74. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
It's Anthony Costanzo, who missed the first 5 games of the season with his own hamstring injury.
Costanzo matched up with Calais Campbell. Boy, watch this play by Campbell. He's going to go inside. He's getting held. He gets the penetration, gets off the block, and then makes the play. Now, you can say what you want about this defense, but number 93 has shown up every week and has made big plays.
3-time Pro Bowler, first team All-Pro last season, and the biggest and best season of his career. And as we get more penalty markers thrown.
There you get Avery Jones.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 93. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
And that is Mr. Campbell. First 9 seasons of his career in Arizona.
Well, I got to tell you, Todd Wash right now has to be absolutely livid with his defense. They've blown coverages. They've been not ready to play. They've had silly mistakes. and they're just handing this game to Luck and the Colts offense.
Luck's second down pass, and there's a hard collision as Ingman is stuck. And boy, what is the call here?
Now they're going to get Miles Jack for a unnecessary roughness, helmet-to-helmet hit as Inman was being held up.
Oh boy, and the frustration continues here for this defense. Jacksonville appeared to cover it perfectly as Boger continues to talk it over with his colleagues.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 44, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Just a boneheaded play by Jack.
Yeah,
play was over.
It's clearly a violation, and the flag should have been thrown, but I understand the frustration of Jack and defensive players across the National Football League. You know, he's going in to make a tackle. And just as he's going in, Telvin Smith pulls Inman to the ground, and it's helmet to helmet. Now, clear violation, but I understand what some of these defensive players are going through with the new rules.
Oh, it's a new world, no question, in the NFL. Fourth penalty against Jacksonville. They've now totaled 40 yards. And a couple of backbreakers on this drive alone. High snap. Looked like everyone wasn't quite ready. Luck making something out of nothing. Goes right back to Inman. And now some fire between these two teams. You see Inman jawing.
Well, half the
that secondary to pick up a 14.
Sparrow, half of the offensive line didn't move. We saw this a few weeks ago when Luck got the snap prematurely before he was expecting it, but the right side of the offensive line didn't move. He gets the snap, and then he just has to improvise. And I guess when things are going your way, they're kind of going your way. But watch the right side of the offensive line. They don't even move. There's no whistle that's blown, and so Luck just dumps it out there and picks up a few yards. And right now you have Jacksonville right on their heels. You've got them on the ropes. And I would not be surprised if right now they don't try and take a shot and take advantage of this defense that's reeling.
Luck from the gun on first down. The pass underneath goes to his check down. That is Grant. Soldier back from his 2-game injury absence. The first 2 games that he has missed in his career. It's a pickup of a half dozen as we come up right on the 2-minute warning. They'll get one more playoff here, potentially more, as they'll run it. And that should get us to the 2-minute warning. That is the rookie Hines. So we will break time now for a special look at Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, in theaters Thursday.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Lowe's. And by Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, in theaters Thursday.
Coming up, the Verizon halftime report from New York. JB Phil, Nate Boomer, and Coach Cowher get you all the latest NFL scores and highlights. Week number 10 around the NFL. It's all next on the Verizon halftime report. Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, our producer Seller Shai, and Andy Friedman, our director, sitting in for Jim Cornell this week in Indy. We're talking about some of the Jacksonville defensive struggles. They have given up nearly 300 yards of total offense. And we are still in the second quarter. Hard to believe. Little play action. Look! Will run out of bounds right at the 5-yard line. Had him fooled initially. Ramsey trying to close a lot of ground as Luck picks up 6.
They run a lot of different plays and attack defenses a lot of different ways. This time Jackson is on the edge. He's got to keep contained. Everybody goes for the fake inside to Marlon Mack. And Malik Jackson is no match for the speed and athleticism of Luck as he gets around the corner and picks up the first down.
First and goal as Luck having everything going at the moment, as he has been carving him up. Luck faking the handoff, goes to Doyle, the tight end. Just short of the end zone as he is banged out of bounds right at the 1 yard line. What a collision between he and the rookie Leon Jacobs. Awfully close. Timeout taken on the field. Back in 30 seconds after this from Lowe's. Jacksonville burning the timeout down to 1 here with 1:50 to play before halftime. An Indy drive that began at their own 25-yard line. 2nd and goal from the 1. Luck to the end zone. It's caught for the Indianapolis touchdown. It's Mo Alley-Cox. And the Colts build on their lead. Well, there was a little bit of a bobble here by Cox at the end of that play. It was Jacobs, the rookie, on the coverage who got his hand on the football. This is close. Of course, every score is under automatic review.
I say control with 2 feet down in possession. He brings it down to his body. Got 1 foot, 2 foot. And then the ball starts to come out. That's going to stand as a touchdown.
Excellent look at it by our camera crew here in Indy, as they continue to take a closer look at this upstairs here, and of course with Al Riveron in New York.
The previous play is under review.
Well, I got to tell you, when you watch the way Frank Reich and his staff are attacking defenses, they do some unique things every single week. That time, Mo Alley-Cox was in motion, and he goes through the line of scrimmage between the guard and the tackle. So the linebackers, they think that it's going to be a running play, but then he sneaks out into the end zone, and Luck puts it up where his big frame and long arms and big hands can go up and get the ball.
So, Adam, you think this is going to stand? It's the catch.
I say right there, 2 feet. I say 2 feet. The ball has not moved. Jacobs has not made the ball come out, and I believe that should stand as a touchdown.
If this thing stands, all 4 Colts touchdowns will have been scored by their tight ends. 3 for Ebron, 2 catching and 1 rushing. And this one here from Mo Alley-Cox.
I think the act of him pulling the ball to his body, and as he gets 2 feet in, that should be enough to secure that catch. At any rate, I wouldn't say that it's enough evidence to overturn what was called on the field.
Well, how far this kid Mo Alley-Cox has come, of course, the former collegiate basketball player at VCU.
After reviewing the play, the rule on the field stands. Touchdown.
Second career touchdown catch for Mo Alley-Cox. Had that incredible one-hander a couple of weeks ago in Oakland. They say he may have the biggest hands of any player in the NFL, and he has put them to good use. Point after by Adam Vinatieri, and it's 28-13 Indianapolis. There are those big mitts. Penalty marker thrown on the point after attempts. Asking Frank Reich what he wants to do here. Looks like an encroachment penalty against the Jags. By the way, first time Jacksonville has given up 300 yards of total offense in a half since week 8 of 2016.
Offside. Defense number 23 jumping into the neutral zone. Indianapolis has elected to have that foul enforced from the 2 to the 1 yard line and go for 2 points.
All right.
And we know Reich is not bashful as a coach. We were here from the Houston game a couple of weeks ago where he went for it late in the overtime on 4th down, and no reason why not to go for it here as they try to extend their lead.
You want a side bet? He throws it to a tight end. Spiro, you got any extra cash in your pocket?
Could scrape something together.
It's got to be tough. You know, Mo Alley Cox, he's got the basketball background.
Number
He's 6'6". We've got an extra offensive lineman reporting, but he's 6'6". There's nobody on a defense that can guard him up high. It's a tough matchup, and they've done a great job of utilizing his skill set.
Here's the snap, and they are in for the two-point conversion. Marlon Mack. And the Colts lead 16 points. Frustrating half for Doug Marrone in Jacksonville. Indy looking for what would be their first three-game winning streak in 3 years. And meantime, the Jags 3-5. How quickly and how far this team has fallen since that Week 2 victory over the Patriots. 4 straight losses. Right now down 16.
And right now the defense, they've got to go into halftime and answer some tough questions about how they've come out to play, because you've got to say that the offense really has kind of done a decent job. They just really haven't had a chance because of the situations that the defense have put them in. But a lack of discipline on all levels today for Todd Wash's defense.
Another short kick here. DJ Chark Jr. will play it outside his own end zone. Had the big return earlier of 47 yards, and another impressive run back here. 39 yards to get him excellent field position. What a couple of two-game spurt here it's been for Mo Alley Cox. The one-hander going up high in Oakland.
You can't guard that. That is not possible. You can't guard it. For a guy whose idol was Randy Moss growing up, again, 6'6", who has experience going up and getting the football. You got a quarterback who has great accuracy and puts it up there. He's almost impossible to guard.
Signed off their practice squad in late September. What an addition he's been. Bortles, as the Jags play here with one timeout, under 90 seconds left. Bortles running for a half dozen. What are they trying to do here? 2nd and 3 coming up.
Well, they've got some time and they've got some good field position. Only one timeout, so that is going to affect their play calling.
Quick snap from Bortles underneath. This is Yeldon. That's a first down, running more. Yeldon inside Indy territory. And a good start to this drive, as they will be in business here. A pickup of 20. Another reminder coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JP and the crew standing by in New York to get you around the league. Caught up here in week number 10 on the Verizon halftime report.
But that was such an important play, because not only did you get inside the 35-yard line, but Yeldon was able to get out of bounds and stop the clock to give Bortles some more flexibility with where he wants to throw this ball.
Bortles' first down pass over the middle. That's the tight end, James O'Shaughnessy. It's a pickup of 9, and you just can't overemphasize how important this game is, certainly for both teams, but especially for the Jags. 2 games behind Houston in the loss column in the division. Texans, of course, 6 straight wins. Have to start to figure it out. Bortles flushed out. We'll run for it on 2nd and 1, and that will be a first down. And even better, able to stop the clock. There's Josh Lambo, his career long and long on the season, both 57 yards, as he has been perfect so far this season.
We know if you throw it in bounds, I probably wouldn't choose to call the timeout. You're going to lose about 20 to 25 seconds on the play clock, and it's still going to give you an opportunity to get into scoring position. So throwing the ball in the middle of the field is still in play.
We'll do that here. Yeldon unable to break the initial tackle. Quincy Wilson, well played, a pickup of 6. And it looks like a timeout will be taken here by Jacksonville. So no timeouts left for Marrone. They take it right here with 38 seconds left, down 16.
Yeah, I don't think that was ideal to burn the timeout now, because now you're severely hampered on 2nd and 4. Remember, if the clock is running and you don't pick up a first down, you're going to waste the down clocking it.
So basically have one more chance to go for it here. Because as Adam pointed out, no timeouts. You need that down to spike it to get your field goal unit potentially in position. Jacksonville, by the way, will have the football to begin the second half. Bortles pass over the middle. That's complete. Westbrook right at the 10. It's a pickup of 7. That's a first down for Jacksonville as they quickly hurry to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, some teams would clock it. I would run a play here because you know what defense you're going to get, and you should have a good matchup.
Bortles over the middle, incomplete. Well played by Kenny Moore. Westbrook again the intended receiver. And Moore accepting his congratulations from his teammates.
Yeah, great play by Kenny Moore to dive in there and break up that pass. Now with 17 seconds, now you're starting to flirt with danger if you take a sack or the clock is running after this play. So you're going to have to start to take shots at the end zone now to at least make sure you have time to kick a field goal.
Bortles pass broken up. And once again, it's Westbrook against Moore. And Moore with some huge plays for this defense. 3rd and goal.
That really is 13 seconds now. And so now you have no choice but to go at the end zone. A complete pass will not give your team a chance to either clock it or get your field goal unit on the field. So the Colts have to make a fence on the goal line and make Bortles throw the ball through you. Don't let anybody curl up inside of you and catch the ball in front of you if you're the Colts.
Bortles looking end zone, incomplete. The Jags fans have to be wondering why he was not going end zone on those previous 2 plays. Perhaps well played by the back end of that Indy defense. Doug Marrone will send out his field goal unit with Lambeau.
Yeah, really a nice job by the Colts defense. Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator, doing a good job of playing bend but don't break and using the play clock and only limiting Jacksonville to a 3-point attempt right before halftime.
28-yard attempt by Lambeau. And his perfect season continues, so they're able to salvage the 3 points, cut it to 13. And once again, Bortles and company will have the football to begin the second half. So offensively, it's been good, but this Jacksonville defense now has really become the story. You see what the Colts have done. Most points that they have scored in a first half all the way back to week 3 of 2014. That was Bortles' rookie season in a game in Jacksonville.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about this defense not being the same as they were last year, but they still came into this game without having a great October as the #2 defense in the National Football League. But this is about as bad as I've seen this defense play. Certainly Luck, the play calling, and the tight ends are having a great day. But the Jaguars defense are not making life difficult on this offense. Too many mistakes, too many discipline issues, and you give a talented quarterback like this who is hot, and he's going to eat you up.
Oh, it was all good for Jacksonville through week 2. They, of course, beat the Patriots second week of the season. They led the league in scoring defense at that point. We're giving up only 17 per game. But my goodness, the bottom has just fallen out here during this losing streak, and that has continued here today. Wilkins on the short little return, and then some more jawing at the end of the play. Luck and company presumably will just take a knee here and get their team into the locker room.
Or you could throw it to a tight end. I'd take it into halftime. That's a pretty good half of football. 29 points on this defense at home. I think Luck and Reich will take that any day of the week.
6th consecutive game for Luck in which he's thrown at least 3 touchdowns. That's the longest such streak since 2007 in the NFL. Halftime in Indy, 29-16. Colts in front. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon. Back with you here at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. All Indy in the first half, 29 28-16. Take a look now at our first half heroes presented by Downey. Tight ends have been a theme for the Colts during this winning streak. Eric Ebron on the pass from Andrew Luck. One of his 3 first-half touchdowns, 2 receiving, 1 rushing. As we welcome you back inside our booth, Spiro Dedes and Adam Archuleta. We could talk about Indy's offense, but really the bigger story has been what has happened in this Jacksonville defense.
It really is. You knew that on paper this was supposed to be a great matchup against an offense that was hot, against a defense maybe not as elite, but still one of the better defenses in the league. But Jacksonville not ready to play. Miscommunication, assignment errors, undisciplined play has really led Andrew Luck to pick this defense apart.
A couple of ill-advised penalties against Todd Wash's defense. First time that they have allowed 300 yards of total offense since 2006. First time that's happened in a half. See what the Colts have done. Most yards in a first half for them in a couple of years since 2016. And suddenly this has been a juggernaut led by Andrew Luck, averaging nearly 40 points during this little 2-game winning streak. They did it against Buffalo a couple of weeks back, and then in Oakland against the Raiders defense that has really struggled. But to do it against Jacksonville has been very impressive. Bortles and company able to salvage the field goal at the end of the first half, so they're down 13. And surprisingly, the offense has been good. The defense hasn't. Usually it's the other way around for the Jags.
Yeah, now you're asking an offense to get back in this game that has averaged 17 points per game to now you're going to have to get over 30 in a defense to really turn things around and start playing with heart.
Jacksonville has lost 4 straight games. Leonard Fournette returning to the lineup today. First time we've seen him since week 4 with that hamstring injury. Only his 3rd appearance of the season. As Adam, we revisit their first half possessions.
Well, I think they've done some really nice things, and being able to ease the pressure off of Bortles. They ran it 13 times with Fournette in the first half. Bortles only threw 5 passes. A lot of those were in that 2-minute situation right before halftime. So I think they've done a pretty good job, and they've been able to hit that one big play. They just have to continue to get positive yardage and work the ball down the field.
So much made of their imbalance offensively, especially in that Week 8 loss in London against Philly. First half in this game, 18 runs, 12 passes. So certainly commitment by Nathaniel Hackett as they got a big 3rd and 5 coming up.
2 of 4 in 3rd downs in that first half was the Jacksonville Jaguars. One of those was that big play to Dante Moncrief. And remember, the Colts not with one of their better rushers today, Kamoko Toure, the exciting rookie. So they're going to have to do it up front with 4 guys and get to Bortles to try and disrupt him.
Now Toure out with the neck injury. 3rd and 5. Bortles well protected, has all day to throw, and he completes to Moncrief, who had the big 80-yard touchdown catch in the first half. That's a first down completion, and Moncrief continues his big day, a pickup of 8.
No, this is what they expect. Moncrief is an experienced receiver. Zone coverage, and he sits it down. Remember, we saw the same route earlier in the first half to the rookie, DJ Chark. He kept going, and Bortles missed him on a key 3rd down. So that's a good play by the veteran receiver to keep the chains moving.
Fake handoff to Fournette. Quick strike. This is Blake Bell, who's been with the team only about 3 weeks. Former 4th-round pick of San Francisco in 2015. 16-yard catch here for another Jacksonville first down.
Yeah, one of the few times in this game where they've thrown the ball on first down.
Well, the quick snap here. Do you see the flag thrown? Could be a free play for the Jags as Fournette gets inside the 40-yard line, close to the 35. And we'll get the call here from Boger.
There were 2 fouls on the play, both against the defense. Offside, defense, number 95, 12 men on the field when the ball was snapped, number 95, defense. These fouls are declined. Second down.
All right. I think we sorted through the confusion.
Yeah, they say number 95.
Corrections, number 94.
Okay, that's the rookie Tyquan Lewis, who is playing in his first game, trying to get off the field.
Lewis, the young second-round pick out of Ohio State, as Westbrook makes the catch. Brought down immediately by Anthony Walker. No gain. But this highly anticipated debut of Lewis, that toe injury in early September, missed the entire preseason, and finally coming off IR. Third and short.
Well, we've seen them go back to their bread and butter, the shallow cross. You've got to come up with a different concept. At some point, you're going to have to throw some different routes, but wouldn't be surprised if they hand this ball off to Fournette.
High formation set behind the fullback, Bohannon. There's Fournette. Did he get it? Needed 36. We'll see where the officials spot the football. Al-Quadin Mohammed among the tacklers for the Colts. And this is going to be very, very close.
And if I'm Doug Marrone, I go for this if it is in fact fourth down and run it again with Fournette.
We know Marrone has been a bit of a gambler on fourth down in his coaching career as the Chains crew is summoned by Jerome Boger.
Well, the reality of it is we talked about it opening up the second half. They're going to have to score well over 30 points if they want to have a chance of winning this game.
First down. And that was as close as you can get. So an impressive drive to begin the second half of the Jags. Adam continues.
We didn't see a lot of it in the first half, but they are having some success running the football. At least they're getting the Colts and the linebackers to creep up a little closer to the line of scrimmage. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator, start to throw a little bit more play action pass on first down.
That's Westbrook in motion. Bortles goes the other way. Here's Fournette. Ducks inside the 35, close to the 33, tackled by Walker. Tonight, big tech companies making billions off of your personal data, but are they protecting it? Plus, these twins made a secret pact as children that has led them to become NFL teammates. The amazing Griffin brothers tonight on 60 Minutes.
Spiro, I tell you what, Anthony Walker is having a really nice game. He struggled a little bit this year with some tackling, but we've seen some big open field tackling, big open field tackles against some pretty good players out in space today.
On 2nd and 8, Bortles goes to his tight end, O'Shaughnessy, who has become a starter since the injury to Austin Seferian-Jenkins, who was placed on IR with that core muscle injury. So a tight end room that has really thinned out. Of course, Mercedes Lewis moving on from Jacksonville. What a loss he has been in the running game. Brandon Linder is the injured Jag here. And boy, what a loss that would be. He's their starting center. Former third-round pick. He's been a Jag his entire 5-year career as the athletic trainers and medical staff come onto the field. Brandon Linder helped off the field. Tyler Shatley is in at center for Jacksonville on a 3rd and 4. Bortles feels the pocket collapse. The pass is incomplete. Off the hands of D.D. Westbrook. Kenny Moore was there, and Moore continues in what has been a strong day at cornerback for the Colts.
Boy, he really has. Playing inside. He had 2 pass breakups in the 2-minute drive right before halftime. And there another critical down on 3rd down is able to undercut it and break up that pass as well. He has been one of the more consistent players in a secondary that has had some problems this season for the Colts.
Here's Josh Lambo, who's hit 24 straight field goals. That's the 2nd longest streak in the league behind Graham Gano. They're going to throw the football. This is O'Shaughnessy, and he will not get it. Well, he's close here. The first down was right around the 26. No signal yet. So how about Doug Marrone, a fake field goal, and now the officials finally signal Jacksonville first down. Incredible decision by Marrone. No, we talked about Marrone as a gambler, and now the challenge flag has been thrown out by Frank Reich. So it looks like Reich wants to challenge the spot. Adam, how about that decision by Marrone?
Indianapolis is challenging the rule of the field of a first down.
I think he knew, and we just talked about it, that they've got to score a lot of points here. And they thought they had a better chance of faking the field goal rather than picking up the 4 yards with a regular offensive play.
So replay is Reich challenging the spot. The call on the field is a Jacksonville first down. Stay with us.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the all-new 2018 Jeep Wrangler, Starbucks, sip a cup of magic, and by FedEx, possibilities, what we deliver by delivery.
All right, so the call on the field stands. It is a first down as we go back to the fake field goal by Jacksonville.
The line to gain was right about the 26-yard line. Anthony Walker Jr., he sees it. He knows there's a fake, and I just don't think there's enough evidence to be able to overturn it. And that was a good call by replay.
Logan Cook, the holder on the pass to O'Shaughnessy, and what a decision here. Does the gamble now pay off for Doug Marrone and Jacksonville? Danico Autry on the tackle, Leonard Fournette on another take as we move inside of 10 minutes left. There's Brandon Linder, and that's the other big story at the moment now. Their big high-priced center, who has been a full-time starter since they took him in the 3rd round in 2014, signed that rich free agent extension in the offseason, highest paid player at his position. And for the moment, Tyler Shatley is their center. Bortles from the gun. Evades the sack, throwing on the run, and completes. Once again, that is O'Shaughnessy, who suddenly is playing a big role. The pressure by Moore that time, but a good play under duress by Bortles, a pickup of a dozen.
Really is. He's always had that strength. As we see Brandon Linder, his center, going to the locker room. You know, as he was going off the field, they were escorting him off the field, and he was carrying his right leg off of the ground. So tough to say exactly what happened, but going to the locker room, not a great sign.
On first down, another misdirectional play. As Bortles trying to sell that, Fournette is buried. I know Bortles is a very mentally tough kid, Adam, but what does this do psychologically for a quarterback when you see your starting center wheeled into the locker room?
Well, I don't think you have a choice. It doesn't matter what position you play. You've got to play the next play. And if he's sitting there and he's worried about Tyler Shatley playing center instead of Brandon Linder, and he doesn't have what it takes to be a franchise quarterback, you've got to go out there now and try and get points on the board regardless who is out there on the field.
This is a Jacksonville team that has not won since week 4 against the Jets. 4 straight losses. Trying to stop the bleeding, down 13 points. Another check down to Fournette. Little stutter step maneuver. Trying to buy himself some real estate at around the 13-yard line. Clayton Gether is on the tackle. And it will be 3rd down, and maybe the biggest play call of the day for Marrone's offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett.
I certainly believe now, as time is winding down, just at about 7 minutes and 30 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, that you are in 4-down territory. So I don't think that you have to get the entire 9 yards right here, but I would fully expect, if they don't pick this up, for Doug Marrone to go for it again.
16th play of the drive. It's 3rd and 9. Bortles over the middle. It's caught. That's Westbrook. Appears to be just short of the end zone, but that will be a 1st and goal for Jacksonville.
Yeah, ball down right inside the 1-yard line, but finally they've been going to that pass 3 times, and 3 times Corey Moore was able to jump underneath that and break up the pass. That time a beautiful, accurate pass by Bortles, and he is rewarded by Westbrook by coming down with a catch.
Well, Bortles wasn't kidding. Said they wanted to get Westbrook more involved. It's his 5th catch. And it's 1st and goal. Bortles built a bootleg for net wide open. And Jacksonville back in business. So Doug Marrone going for the fake on the field goal, giving his offense a chance. Bortles and company able to capitalize.
A really nice job, really good execution there by that offensive play. They're going to get a lot of traffic. There's the fake field goal. O'Shaughnessy scratches and claws to pick up that 1st down, and that sets up this play where Nathaniel Hackett sets up a lot of traffic to get to Fournette.
Well, let's give Logan Cook some credit as well. The southpaw with that little pass on the fake, and Fournette able to cut it to 6. First touchdown of the season for Leonard Fournette. First game action of him, of course, since week 4. He's missed the last 5 games. It's making his triumphant return, and what an addition he's been. What a loss he has been during this 4-game slide. As Indy will have it from their own 25-yard line. Well, the NFL is deeply committed to salute to service, the league's year-round effort to honor, empower, and connect with our nation's service members, veterans, and their families. You can join the salute by visiting NFL.com/salute. Special thanks to all our servicemen and women around the country and around the world, wherever you are today. Thank you. Well, it seems like it's been a long time since Andrew Luck and this offense have been on the field.
Interesting, Jalen Ramsey is playing free safety.
First drive of the half for Luck and company. They lead down to 6. You see the flag thrown. This is the tight end, Mo Alley Cox, who had the touchdown late in the first half. Leon Jacobs on the tackle. After a pickup of 8, we'll see if it stands.
Holding, offense, number 72. 10-yard penalty, still 1st down.
That's Braden Smith, the young rookie out of Auburn, 2nd rounder, making his 5th, make it 6th start of the season. And has really solidified that right tackle spot that has been a source of concern, to say the least, for the Colts. At least it was early in the year. But Smith really settling in. Now the question now for Jacksonville, can this defense finally figure it out? A defensive unit that looked so fierce early in the season. That really took one on the chin in the first half. Luck to the air, incomplete. Boy, Hines was wide open.
Boy, if Hines was able to catch this, they're going to pull this linebacker out and clear him out in the middle of the field, and then Hines puts a beautiful move on Barry Church. And if he catches that thing, it is off to the races. And Hines, who has been pretty sure-handed and has been really nice out of the backfield this season as a rookie for the Colts, has a rare drop.
Hines survived the yips in the preseason, had multiple fumbles in their first couple of preseason games. That was a source of concern. But has really been good for Wright this season. Here's Mack. Little check down pass from Luck. And this Jacksonville defense able to hold, for the moment at least, Telvin Smith and Avery Jones on the tackle, and it will be a nearly impossible 3rd and 19.
Yeah, one of the very few times that the Colts has been in 3rd and long, and that's really hurt Jacksonville as they have tried to attempt to rush the passer. You know, Yannick Ngakoue, he's their guy. Now, I don't imagine Luck is going to hang on to this football, but these down and distances are the ones that Jacksonville has to win.
We'll see what Hines can do here. Well played by the Jags. It's a pickup of only 9. So DeJuan Smoot and company on the tackle. You see the jawing now back and forth. Jags now starting to get some confidence. And this suddenly is a 6-point game with Bortles and company set to get the football back.
Yeah, bailed out. Nice job of getting off the field in their first drive to start the 3rd quarter, but they were bailed out by that drop on 2nd down by Hines.
Boy, how big does that fake field goal decision by Doug Marrone loom at the moment? Punt here by Rigoberto Sanchez, and this will take an Indy bounce. inside the 30. And Bortles and company will have it right around their own 28-yard line. We do get a penalty flag thrown way back at around the line of scrimmage on the punt.
During the kick, holding number 44 of the return team. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down.
That's Miles Jack, and they will tack on that yardage here for Jacksonville. 6-point game on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Gain. And by Subway. Make it what you want.
Well, quickly this game is turned. Jacksonville showing some life within 6, but right now having to deal with a big injury on their offensive line. As Brandon Linder leaving the game with a knee injury. His return is questionable, so Tyler Shatley is in. And also Eric Flowers signed after he was cut by the Giants. Disappointing start with the G-men, cut after he was taken 9th overall back a couple of years ago, getting his first real action today with the Jags to try to bolster this offensive line, and his return is questionable. So Bortles and company begin from their own 38. On first down, Bortles to the air, incomplete. Unable to connect with Westbrook.
Well, this was so close on the sideline. I love the technique by Moore. That's a tough route for a corner to cover, and I can't tell, did he get his fingertip on that ball? He may have just tipped it before Westbrook ran out of room on that sideline. But
and how about this? Jacksonville 10 first downs in the first half, 7 on that last drive that chewed up more than 8 minutes. And once again, that fake field goal by Marone, the key decision. Bortles from the gun. The handoff here is to Hyde. Didn't call his name much in the first half. Picks up 3 here. Required in the trade on October the 19th from Cleveland. And it will be 3rd and 7 coming up.
Bortles has really put together a nice game today. It's been a conservative passing game, but 17 for 22. 224 yards and 2 touchdowns. Made some nice throws on 3rd down on that last drive. They've been short passes over the middle. He is yet to try and attack this defense outside the numbers.
Where does he go here on 3rd and 7? High snap. Able to take it from Shatley over the middle. O'Shaughnessy wide open. First down and more. Inside Indy territory all the way down to the 40-yard line. What a play by James O'Shaughnessy, the 4th-year kid out of Illinois State. It's a pickup of 18.
Pressure coming off of Blake Bortles' right side, and he's able to buy just enough time. Quincy Wilson is dropping. He doesn't see O'Shaughnessy leak to the middle of the field. So Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator for the Colts, opt to bring pressure, but they don't see the tight end. Bortles hits him and picks up a big first down to keep it going.
Saw the high snap from Shatley. That is something that bears watching the rest of the game. Haven't had too many snaps between them. Caleb Westbrook, or Bortles rather, as Westbrook on the end around is tackled. Nice play by Jabal Sheard, who's had a terrific season for the Colts. It's a loss of a yard.
I gotta tell you, this is pretty good for a guy that's 6'3", 260 pounds. Jabal Sheard is trying to go down to contain the run, but great change of direction and flattens down the line of scrimmage to get to Bortles before he can pick up any yardage. Great play on the edge by Jabal Sheard.
Sheard led them in sacks last year with 5.5, his first season with Indy. And he has been very good this year. 4 more sacks and a terrific play right there. 2nd down 1 here by Fournette. And he is going backwards. Adam, what have you seen so far from Fournette?
Wondering if he was going to make an impact coming into this drive. Ran the ball 15 times for 50 yards. But has had a huge impact in the passing game. Here taking a long screen, feeding him up inside, and then gets his first touchdown in this game out of the backfield. So Leonard Fournette doing it on the ground and in the passing game as the feature. But now Jacksonville negative yardage is 3rd and 14 and they really haven't shown much of an intermediate or downfield passing game.
3rd and 14. Bortles pass a little bit off target. Yeldon, what a catch! Needed the 31 for the first down. Quincy Wilson was there on the tackle. It's a pickup of 11.
Boy, what an effort out there.
Marone sends out his field goal unit here on 4th and 3.
Well, so now you're within 6 points, and you still got more than a quarter to play. But watch the effort. If it's not for this effort, you're not going to get a chance to kick a field goal. TJ Yeldon is barely able to hang on to that pass and then gets upfield, but to put them in scoring position.
Josh Lambo has made 5 straight field goals from 50 yards or more. This one is no good. Wide left. First missed field goal by Lambo all season.
Boy, oh boy. Not the best timing for your first miss, and just misses to the left.
Nathaniel Hackett looking on from the sideline. He had hit his first 13 field goals attempted on the season. Before that miss from 52. And so Indy's lead remains 6. As we are under a minute now left to play in this quarter. They begin just inside their own 42. Chester Rogers taking it from Luck, and he's going backwards.
Boy, such a good reaction from Calais Campbell. They're trying to get Rogers with a full head of steam to get outside of him, but he goes right upfield for -4 yards in a crucial play here on first down. So now back-to-back drives that Andrew Luck has to try and dig himself out of an offensive hole here with 2nd and long.
Clock running now. We come up on the final 20 seconds of the quarter. Luck back to the air, incomplete. Off the hands of Ali Cox, the tight end. Ronnie Harrison, the rookie, 3rd-round kid out of Alabama on the coverage.
We got to love if you're Todd Wash after having a miserable first half. And your defense so far has come out to play a little bit. Now it's crucial here, 3rd and 14, that you've got to be able to come up, make the tackle, and not allow the Colts to pick up this first down. But this is exactly what Jacksonville needed here to start out the 3rd quarter. Their 2nd, 3rd, and long situation in a row here in the 2nd half.
Luck's pass is complete. Dontrell Inman. And that is a backbreaker for the Jags. They complete and convert a 3rd and 14 to take us to the end of the quarter. 16 yards, Luck to Inman, and it's a 6-point Indy lead. Well, it's been a fun game to watch as we welcome you back to Indianapolis, just about ready for the 4th quarter. 6-point lead for the Colts, just when you thought Jacksonville was left for dead. First fake field goal that has been successful in the history of their franchise. Doug Marone rolling the dice. Able to convert it and bang it in for a touchdown eventually. And that's where we sit right here. Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, rest of our CBS crew from Lucas Oil Stadium. Our producer, Seller Shy, Andy Friedman, our director. First play of the 4th. After Luck and company converted on a 3rd and 14. That pass is broken up and it's intercepted. Telvin Smith off the hands of Mo Alley Cox, and Smith is there for the massive play for Jacksonville.
Well, this is really incredible. Mo Alley Cox lets this ball get into his chest rather than use those great hands that we've seen. Telvin Smith is beat, but the ball goes right into his hands, and he's able to get both feet inbounds for a huge play. Boy, it was demoralizing to give up that 3rd and 14 the play before, but a mistake by Ali Cox, and Smith is able to capitalize.
First INT of the season for Smith, but it's the 8th of his career. Telvin Smith playing with pain and soreness in both of his AC joints in his shoulder. He's had to receive multiple injections to get himself ready to play. And what a moment for Smith. Todd Wash celebrating on that Jacksonville sideline. And you can slowly feel the momentum continue to turn in Jacksonville's favor.
Delay of game.
In the secondary.
Offense, number 5. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That is an absolute killer. On a change of possession to get a delay of game.
Just can't happen.
To start out on first and 15 on a critical drive. Can't do it.
If you've just joined us, keep in mind no Brandon Linder, their usual starting center, and mainstay at the position, out with a knee injury. We don't know if he's back, still questionable. So Tyler Shatley is Jacksonville's center. Looking for Nick. That little cutback maneuver crosses the 30, out close to the 31-yard line. Darius Leonard on the tackle. A pickup of 10 as we go to New York, JB and Coach.
Surprise, surprise, Kansas City score.
Yeah, Spencer Ware gets his 3-yard touchdown run. It comes off of Josh Rosen interception by Justin Houston. 2-point play, no good. Kansas City leads 26-14.
Spiro and Adam.
All right, guys, Kansas City trying to keep their incredible season going behind Pat Mahomes and company. So 2nd and 5 after the nice play by Fournette. You see the breakdown in what they've done offensively, Adam, first half to second half, as they have basically had the football since the start of this third quarter, or second half, I should say.
Really have done a nice job picking up first downs. The fact that they had 7 third-down conversions, picked up 7 first downs on that first drive of the game is pretty impressive. But here they are, 3rd and 7. They've been a dink and dunk offense. Everything has been under 10 yards, and they've had to rely on yards after the catch. At some point, Bortles is going to be able to complete an intermediate pass.
Bortles delivering, and it is caught. Moncrief. Boy, he is sticking it to his old team today. The big touchdown catch in the first half, and a couple of big first down receptions. This one good for 10.
Well, really is working against press coverage on Arthur Mollett, and Bortles with great timing to see as soon as he came out of that break and hits him right on that right shoulder. Perfect pass right on the sideline on a big third down.
First 4 year of Moncrief's career here as a Colt. Here is Carlos Hyde taking on tacklers. And Hyde forced out of bounds. That clock still running. A couple of minutes into the fourth quarter. We're in Indianapolis in a huge battle in the AFC South. The two teams currently at the bottom of the division. Jacksonville, 4 straight losses. Colts trying to continue this little mini winning streak. Would be their first 3-game streak in 3 calendar years. As you see where they sit, everyone chasing Houston and Deshaun Watson, of course. As the Texans at 6-3 off 6 straight victories. On 2nd and 11, Bortles incomplete. Intended for the rookie DJ Chark Jr. Good coverage by Pierre Desir, making the start today for Nate Hairston.
Well, really close. You see Bortles had to put some air under that ball because Darius Leonard was right in that passing window, forcing another 3rd long. And I think we're starting to see maybe not having Brandon Linder in the lineup, because the Colts front 4 has started to come to life here in the last couple of drives and have had some negative plays which has led to 3rd long. Let's see if the 4 of them can get to Bortles here.
Bortles on 3rd and 11. Underneath, this is the tight end Bell. Needed the 50, and he has it. What a play by the Oklahoma kid, a pickup of a dozen. There is a penalty marker thrown in the secondary on Indy's side of the field. And what's the call here from Jerome Boger?
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, defense number 53. This penalty is declined, the result of the play, first down.
So the penalty on Leonard is, of course, negated, declined. And a first down reception by Blake Bell, who again has been with this team all of about 3 weeks.
As Darius Leonard, he's going to give us an elbow or a shoulder right there to the receiver who's breaking to the out. I know it technically is illegal contact, but that's calling it pretty fine in my opinion.
7 play of the drive. Here's Fournette, 23rd rush of the afternoon. Well played by Jabal Sheard in that Colts front as they dump him for a loss of a yard. You have to wonder about Fournette's stamina. First game action for him since week 4, that game against the Jets.
Well, it's about Fournette, but also first down runs here have been all for negative plays. And you've seen the Colts defensive front get some good penetration. So now you got to maybe change your play calling a little bit and throw some passes on first down, because you're getting in a lot of 2nd and 3rd and long situations where your players have had to make some pretty outstanding plays to pick up the first down.
That pass is batted down. Al-Quadin Muhammad with a big play for the Colts. And it will be 3rd and 11.
There's a screen pass. And you want to let him go, but nobody engages him. So he's able to just have a free run at Bortles, and he sticks his hand out there to knock down the pass.
Jags have been very good on 3rd down today. Where do they go here on 3rd and 11? Bortles from the gun. Under duress, incomplete. Hit on the release by Tyquan Lewis, making his Colts debut.
Here he is right off the edge. The defensive line has really come and started to play. Josh Walker is the left tackle, and he just doesn't get enough on Lewis. Lewis coming in on 3rd down, using that speed off of the edge, and when his defense needs him to make a play, he makes a big one.
Logan Cook on the punt. Boy, Colts fans have been waiting for that from Lewis. Finally making his debut today, coming back from the long recovery from the toe injury. 6-point game on CBS. Saturday, the SEC on CBS brings you the best game from the best conference when Missouri battles Tennessee. The day kicks off with college football today at 3 Eastern right here on CBS. Lucas Oil Stadium, downtown Indianapolis. Temperatures outside into the 30s in this great American city. Which of these two teams can win here in a Week 10 battle in the AFC South? Marlon Mack on the short take. This is a Colts team that started the year 1-5. They were tied for the worst record in the NFL. But so back-to-back wins over Buffalo and then at Oakland before the bye. And they've got a chance, Adam, to sneak a little bit closer to 500 under Frank Reich.
Well, this is a huge drive, obviously, for the Colts, and if anything, they've just got to get some time on this possession and flip the field position. You can't afford to go 3 and out here and give Bortles and the Jaguars the ball near the 50-yard line.
On 2nd and 8, here is Hines running right. Andrew Luck, of course, has been the catalyst. Successful return from the shoulder injury. All the questions about, physically, could he get back to where he was before the injury? So what a day he's played, Adam. 3 touchdowns now in a 3rd straight, make it 6th straight game, I beg your pardon. Longest such streak in the league since 2007. 19 of 26 for 244 yards as they're faced with a 3rd and 6.
And we talked about it before. Yannick Ngakoue, number 91, has to find a way to get to Luck and get some pressure on him. They love with these cut splits to run those shallow crossers. Now, Calais Campbell was lined up right over the ball. And they're going to say that the ball was moving, and therefore it should be a false start on the center.
Encroachment. Defense, number 93. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
So Campbell doesn't win that argument.
Yeah, Campbell is right over the ball. And he's trying to make an argument that Ryan Kelly moved the ball, and therefore that's why he jumped. And I don't see any ball movement whatsoever. Here's a good look at it right here. And that's a clear encroachment on Calais Campbell.
There was a little bit of a shift in Kelly's body, which of course is permissible. But so the ball didn't move, at least from that vantage point. And so it's 3rd and 1 here instead of 3rd and 6. Just a huge penalty again against this Jacksonville defense. Looks like a timeout is taken by Frank Reich. Andrew Luck and the Colts. Stay with us.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AARP. Take on today with AARP. Real possibilities. Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. And by Kay Jewelers. For all the moments. For love. Forever.
You know, that 2006 World Championship banner, Peyton Manning immortalized both inside and outside the stadium. Luck on 3rd and short. Well, can this defense hold for Jacksonville? Mack on the take, and we'll see where the officials spot the football. Marcel Darius with first contact for the Jags. And boy, what a play this would be for the defense. And it is 4th down.
Wow.
So the Colts aided by the penalty on Calais Campbell, and Todd Wash's defensive front, it looks like, will be able to get off the field. Reich sends out his punter.
Really nicely done up front by Marcel Darius, who was lined up over the right guard, and Avery Jones, who was lined up over the center, and completely knocked him back into Marlon Mack, what should have been an easy 3rd and short.
So here's Sanchez, the 2nd-year punter out of Hawaii. We'll punt this away from right around the 10. D.D. Westbrook back deep, signals for the fair catch, and good field position for Bortles and Jacksonville. They'll have it from the 40. Now CBS's Super Bowl season continues. Game 2 of our doubleheader. First, most of you will see an NFC West clash as Seattle looks to gain some ground when they take on the division leaders, the Rams. Others will see Miami against Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay. And Todd Gurley on a lot of people's lists at the moment for league MVP. Adam, what do you think?
I think there's some great offensive football being played. I think, you know, sitting here in November, early November, I think it's still too early to tell.
Not ready to go out on the limb. Here's Bortles. Little underneath. There's a flag throw on Carlos Hyde on the catch. It's a pickup of 4 if it stands. Matthew Adams, rookie 7th-round pick on the tackle.
Number 60. 10-yard penalty. Replay 1st down.
That's A.J. Cann, the man penalized. And these Jags penalties really starting to pile up.
They really are, because, you know, they just can't throw the ball down the field. It's so hard for them to recover in 1st and 2nd long situations. That was good they went to a pass on 1st down, because they had been getting negative runs on 1st downs on the first couple drive previous to this one, but you're sitting at 1st and 20, and it's been tough.
Well, you consider, if you're Jacksonville, you have to play Pittsburgh next week. Just, again, can't overstate how important this game is. Have to have it as they try to stay alive in the division. There's Hyde again. Once again, a flag thrown just beyond the line of scrimmage.
Man.
It's a pickup of 10 if this one stands. This one could be a hold on the defense.
Defense, number 23. 5-yard penalty, automatic. 1st down.
That's Kenny Moore, who, this play aside, has been very good for the Colts today.
They call Kenny Moore on a hold right there. It looked to me like he got his jam within the allotted distance. Didn't see much of a hold right there, and boy, Jaguars catch a big break. Kenny Moore has played a really nice game inside from the slot in this game.
His usual starter on the other side, Nate Hairston, is out today. As Pierre Desir making the start. On 1st and 10, fresh set of downs after the penalty. A couple of fakes. Here is Fournette. Into the flat and inside Colts territory. Forced out of bounds by Walker. A pickup of 16. And what a return it's been for Leonard Fournette. 1st down, Jacksonville.
They've been able to get pick up some pretty good yardage on the screen today, and really guess when you kind of look at this offense, it's been relegated to check downs to the running backs. They have not been able to threaten any part of the intermediate part of the field, and outside of that one deep play to Dante Moncrief, they have not threatened this Colts secondary. So if you're the Colts, you just got to be able to come up and make the tackle and make them earn their way down the field.
Play action from Bortles. He goes to Bohannon, a fullback. First time we've called his name today. Anthony Walker on the tackle. It's a pickup of 5. And 2nd and 5 coming up.
Yeah, you know, when I watch this offense, Jacksonville's offense, and just how they've operated in the last few games, I thought that at times Bortles is quick to bail out on the play. And what I mean by that is he looks downfield, but immediately he's going to his running backs and kind of scared to threaten the field, down the field a little bit. He's got to be able to make some plays on the intermediate part of the field to help move this offense down the field.
Here's Hyde. What a crazy season it's been for Jacksonville. The big win over the Patriots in week 2. Everyone was talking about them possibly being a Super Bowl contender. Then the injury to Fournette lingered on. 4 straight losses. They really have been probably the biggest disappointment so far in the league since that Patriots win, but somehow trying to figure one out here on the road in the division in week 10. 3rd and short.
Yeah, 3rd and short. They've tried to get the ball to D.D. Westbrook on a slant in the slot, but Kenny Moore has played that pretty well.
Here's Hyde. And that appears to be, I beg your pardon, it's Yeldon on the take. 1st down, Jacksonville. And that clock is running with 5:10 remaining in the 4th.
Well, really time, you know, you have to score right here if you're Jacksonville. This is your big opportunity to go ahead in this game. So time really is not much of an issue here. Trying to get 6 points is the issue. So make sure you get the right play, but I wouldn't be worried about the time one bit.
Bortles under center. Boy, Fournette stumbling to the turf. May have tripped over his own feet. But Fournette, so good today. First game action since week 4. He's over 100 scrimmage yards today. 54 on the ground, 56 as a pass catcher, and 2 touchdowns.
Jabal Sheard is starting to have himself some half in this game. And right there, just completely stacked up Jeremy Parnell, and that's what made Fournette stumble in the backfield.
Bortles play action on 2nd and long. It's incomplete. Really the first time he and Moncrief have been unable to connect. And now a tough 3rd and 11 for Nathaniel Hackett, their offensive coordinator, and Blake Bortles. Where do you go here?
3rd and long, it's really been dumping the ball off to their backs and making them try and pick up the 1st down after the catch. So if you're the Colts, you just got to play, get back, get set up on the quarterback, set up in your zone, and break downhill and tackle.
Incomplete. Bortles under duress. Appeared to be some contact right on the release. It was Jabal Sheard, who has been so good for Indy this season.
Really starting to have a game here in the 2nd half. 4 sacks coming into this game, and Parnell makes that corner way too soft. Just gives them the edge, and there's no way that Sheard should be able to get in the backfield that fast and affect Bortles' release.
Here is Lambeau on a 55-yard attempt. Missed his first field goal of the season earlier on a 52-yarder. Good spot, good hold, and this one is good by a cat whisker. And Jacksonville inching a little bit closer. 3-point game on CBS. Now the Jacksonville Jaguars down by as many as 13 in this game. Fought their way back to within a field goal. Josh Lambeau on a 55-yarder, atoning for the 52-yard miss earlier And it's a 3-point game. Well, February 5th, 2012, right here at Lucas Oil Stadium, Super Bowl 46, Giants-Patriots. Eli Manning with the incredible completion to Mario Manningham, setting up the game winner from Ahmad Bradshaw. Eli all smiles. Seems like an eternity ago for the Giants and their fans as our countdown to Super Bowl 53 right here on CBS continues. Spiro Ditas, Adam Archuleta, rest of our CBS crew from Indy. 29-26. Andrew Luck and company back onto the field on 1st and 10. Luck to Hilton, who's open. Barry Church on the tackle. Huge play for the Colts, a pickup of 35.
Wow, what a beauty. T.Y. Hilton across the field. Barry Church is the free safety. But this is zone coverage, and Church has to get over there. He is not getting threatened from the other side of the field, and you cannot allow number 13, one of the best deep threat weapons in the National Football League, to cross your face. And Luck perfectly accurate down the field.
3rd catch for Hilton, 77 yards. What a loss he was those 2 games that he's missed earlier in the season, chest and hamstring injuries. But everyone talks all the time about the incredible chemistry, the synergy between Hilton and Luck. How badly did they need that play?
You know, it's really been amazing this season, and T.Y. Hilton missed a couple games.
Jacksonville's going to take a timeout. That'll be their first.
So Hilton missed a couple games, but he's not forcing the ball to Hilton. He's been able to spread the ball around, and, you know, it's kind of a cliche. They want to take what the defense gives them, and that's exactly what Luck has done the entire season. And the tight ends have played a big part in this offense. Certainly in the last 2 games, the running game has been a big part of it, but he has not forced the issue to T.Y. Hilton. But when he's open, running down the field, he's going to put it right on him.
Reminder to stay tuned for the NFL Today update delivered by Pizza Hut, time permitting. JB and our crew standing by in New York. We'll get you caught up around the league here in week number 10. Colts trying to build on a 3-point lead with 3:10 left. Jags down to their final 2 timeouts. Colts with 1. Luck's pass is complete. That's the rookie Nyheim Hines. It's a pickup of a half dozen. And now the Jags will take their 2nd timeout. And that clock management and game management looming large here for Doug Marrone and Frank Reich.
Yeah, after the 1st down play, you figure this is our biggest chance to save time by calling timeout, because they have to get a stop here. It's a nice job of picking up a few yards to put their offense into 3rd and 4, but for Doug Marrone now, they have to be able to get this stop to be able to get the ball back with time left on the clock.
Marrone and the Jags got off to that 3-1 start, but 4 straight losses. They got to take on these Steelers next week, so all kinds of pressure to somehow win this game in the division on the road. Andrew Luck in this offense so good in the 1st half. Just haven't had the ball much in the 2nd half. Jacksonville's defense has been better. Can they convert here on a critical 3rd and 4? Luck delivering incomplete. Unable to find Hilton. Jalen Ramsey was there on the coverage. And Frank Reich will send out his kicker, Adam Vinatieri. Vinatieri, who just a couple of weeks ago set the NFL's all-time scoring record, surpassing the Hall of Famer Morton Anderson. And this will be a 52-yard attempt. Good snap, good hold. The kick is no good. Wide right. And Jacksonville's going to get it back with excellent field position and plenty of clock. 1 timeout left in their back pocket as well.
Wow. Boy, do we have a game or what?
Adam, any thought there to maybe punting it and trying to pin them deep on their own side of the field?
I don't know. You've got Vinatieri, and You know, most of the time he's going to make that kick. I think trying to get the points was the right play. Just didn't work out.
So here's Bortles and company. What a moment this would be for him in this offense. Yeldon on the catch. Out across the 45, close to the 50, a pickup of 6. Quincy Wilson on the tackle. And it will be 2nd and 4.
Expect the Colts to stay in zone coverage, play deep to short, rally, and tackle. The defensive line now, led by Jabal Sheard, has had a pretty successful second half. Try to put some pressure on Bortles, bait him into a bad throw, but you've got to be able to tackle and minimize any yards after the catch by the Jaguars.
20th career game of 300 yards passing for Bortles. Back to his check down. Here's Yeldon. Inside Colts territory, it's a pickup of 8 and a Jacksonville first down, as that should get us to the 2-minute warning. Doug Marrone's Jags trying to end this 4-game slide in Indy. 2-minute warning on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Jaguar, the art of performance. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Well, Josh Lambo's career-long field goal came just a couple of weeks ago in London. And the loss to Philly, 57-yarders. So the target line is right around the 38, 39-yard line. But they're thinking more than that. 1st and 10, fresh set of downs with 1 timeout left. Pass is incomplete. Off the hands of T.J. Yeldon. Darius Leonard, the highly touted rookie linebacker who entered the day leading the league in tackles, was there on the coverage.
I'm a little bit surprised that Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator for the Colts, is continuing to play zone coverage. Jacksonville needs about 6 yards to get into that outer range of Lambo's, of where he wants to kick from. I think the Colts have to be more aggressive and challenge them a little bit more in man-to-man coverage to not allow them to get in the field goal range.
Bortles to give to Yeldon. Yeldon with plenty of running room in front of him, finally tackled by Kenny Moore. It's a pickup of 9. Still have that timeout to the Jags. There's Lambo getting that right leg warmed up. It'll be 3rd and 1. Quick snap, Bortles from the gun, over the middle, delivers. And then the football comes loose. It will be ruled a completion, and that is a first down. Rashad Green Sr. on the reception. It's a pickup of 10.
What a great sequence for Jacksonville. First,
oh boy,
giving it to Yeldon, and the Gathers get that ball out.
Jags quickly and smartly snap the football, but now they will whistle it dead. And they're going to take a closer look at this in New York.
The last play is under review.
Boy, this is very, very close.
So a combination of things. Kenny Moore has his right arm, and he's going to strip this ball out, and then it looks like Gathers hits him from the back. And that's close. The ball doesn't appear to be moving until his knee hits the ground. And so this was called down by contact on the field. Here's the question. Is there enough evidence to overturn?
All booth reviews inside of 2 minutes are initiated upstairs by the replay booth. There was a clear recovery, and that's the other big thing here by the Colts. So Jerome Boger now in direct communication with Al Riverine and his staff in New York. It was Malik Hooker, the man who recovered the football for the Colts, and Gathers was there on the initial play to force it loose.
So the big question is, when does the ball begin to get jarred loose?
There's the knee down right
now,
there.
Is the ball out yet? It doesn't appear that the ball starts moving.
Here's the critical thing here, Adam. The call in the field is huge because now you need the conclusive evidence to turn the call around.
I can't see them overturning this. This one is too close, and the call should stand.
All right, let's bring in Gene Steratore, our ruse analyst from New York. Gene, what do you see?
In my opinion, I feel like that ball is coming out before the knee lands. Now, they did rule down by contact, and in the event that they rule this a fumble, you have an immediate recovery, even though there was an official ruling down by contact. So if they do go with fumble, which I believe they will, it's kind of suspended in there, but I think it's out of his control at that point. Then you'll have an immediate recovery. They'll go back and reset the game clock if it is ruled a fumble recovered by the defense. Put the ball at the 24-yard line, which is where Indianapolis had recovered this.
All right, Gene Steratore, our rules analyst. Thank you, Gene, from New York. Here's the call from Boger.
After reviewing the play, the runner did fumble the ball with a clear recovery by the defense at the 23-yard line. It will be first down and 10 at the 23-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 1 minute, 30 seconds.
And agony for Doug Marrone and the Jaguars. So the call to overturn, they say catch by Green and then fumble. First Jacksonville turnover today.
Well, you really have to tip your hat to Kenny Moore. He has played a brilliant game in the slot with some key pass breakups, and they're the biggest play of the game in getting that ball out of Rashad Green's hands.
Green, who has been up, deactivated multiple times this season, re-signed prior to week 3. They waived him early in the year after needing a roster spot. Oh boy, he's going to have a long flight back to Jacksonville. Jaguars were well within the field goal range of Josh Lambo. And a lot to think about, as Jacksonville is going to be in serious trouble in the division.
And that's kind of been the story here for Jacksonville on offense in the passing game, is the wide receiving core, coming up with some key drops and not being able to make the big play when their team has needed it.
The reigning division champs in the AFC South will fall to 3-6, their 5th straight loss. And all smiles on that Indianapolis sideline. Well, both of these two teams had a couple of weeks to prepare. Both had their byes last week. Of course, everyone chasing Deshaun Watson in Houston, 6 straight wins atop the South. And an Indianapolis Colts team that was 1-5, tied for the worst record in the NFL. As you see, Luck here, some trickery to buy some extra seconds, and it is over. For the Colts, their first 3-game winning streak in 3 calendar years, as they get to 4-5 on the season. Some nervous moments late for Frank Reich and company, but they hold off Jacksonville and win it 29-26. Now for our producers, Sellers Shy, our director, Andy Freeman, and for Adam Archuleta, Spiro Dita saying so long from Indianapolis. Coming up, the NFL Today update delivered by Pizza Hut. We'll take you to New York for all of the latest scores and highlights right after this on CBS.